to the Dogish podcast, the podcast dedicated to dog parents, the topics, events, and personalities impacting their lives. My name is Jasen and Sylvia, founder of FureverUSA and the dog photography experience for you and the dog who stole your heart. And with me, as always, is Sylvia West, owner, founder of Dog Up in This Bitch Dog Training. How are you today?
Dog up in this botched.
This botched bitch dog training.
So kind of apropos though. Listen,
cut me some slack today. Like it's
been a big day.
We're
going to
get
into
to find about it. It's crazy morning that I get to. Yeah.
We like stole a bunch of our guests' time to talk about Jason's drama-filled morning, but I'm excited. I'm excited for who's coming on. You want to tell them who's coming on?
I don't know what's going on. We seem to have guests with the most difficult last names for me to pronounce.
You could do it.
Like I think Gina Knepp was the only one that was like easy, but you've had I can't even remember.
Do you want me to do it?
Can you nail Billy's last name?
No. All right, I think it's Billy. We got to start asking them that.
Yeah.
Billy Simeonidis.
He's Greek.
It's Greek, so it's got to be Edis at the end.
Right. Billy's awesome. Like Billy and I've been actually really good friends for
owner and operator of Bareburger.
Yes.
In New York City, Brooklyn.
Two of them.
Who?
Brooklyn and Bareburger's like actually huge. Like I think they're at like 50, 60.
I make a play for them to come to LA.
Yeah,
It's a whole thing. Let's get into it.
Cool.
We ready?
Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's go. Hey everybody, how are you guys doing?
Good. We're on pins and needles over here with this.
Oh, I know.
Story you need to tell us.
No, and it's very time sensitive. I hope I don't have to step away. There's a chance I might have to step away. But Billy, this is Sylvia, Billy. I met Billy on the same road tour that I met you on, Sylvia.
Oh, wow. Opposite coasts.
Opposite ends.
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
Equally lovely people. Like you guys were just the highlights of our trip on the road.
Gosh, now look at us. Here we all are.
I know, right? So Christy and I are laying in bed and we're sleeping and we hear the dogs playing outside this morning. And every once in a while they'll go in the backyard and they'll run around because there's like we've got squirrels and stuff in our backyard and I've heard them out there, but they've been out there like a long time this morning. So I get up and I start getting ready this morning and I look out back and I shit you not, there's a new dog in my backyard.
Wow.
Just a random dog.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, yeah.
The Dog Stork visited.
Yeah. Like,
is this your first time?
Well, we have we actually the Tooth Fairy did come last night. So I thought the Tooth Fairy only dropped off a couple dollars. Apparently dogs now, just like
a dog now. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
What kind of dog?
They must just be
mix.
so busy. Like all the mythical people are just so busy. They're like, the Dog Stork was like, I have 5 drop-offs. You're already going to this house for teeth. Can you take this dog with you?
Right.
That must be it.
No, so I'm completely flustered. I mean, this is happening literally minutes. Like I walk in and I'm talking to Christy and I say, we've got to because it's cold here in Reno.
Yeah.
And I went out there to kind of check and see how things are going. The dogs are getting along great, which is fortunate because like I have no idea how this dog got in our backyard. I mean, outside of the dog just deciding it was going to jump in to come play with our dogs, maybe. More likely, I'm going to have to check our cameras. They somebody was like, well, these are dog people and they have something to do with rescues from time to time. So we'll just toss this stray that we found in there and they can deal with it. Like I have no idea how else. So, but I went out just to check and I mean she's real thin. She was anxious for some water.
She came up to you?
She's super sweet. She gave some of the kind of like the hey, are you okay barks as she walked over just to make sure. But that's my morning this morning. So I get to tackle that here shortly and wrestle through figuring out how to handle that.
I mean, listen,
what do you guys suggest?
It's a blessing as far as I'm concerned. I suggest, I mean, I may be the wrong person because I'm ready to go find another 2-3 dogs if I can. But
oh,
so
well, we're gonna bring her out to you, Billy.
you're gonna, I guess so.
Another road tour.
I mean, another road tour. I mean, listen, if nobody claims her anywhere, I guess it doesn't look like anybody probably will. You either have a new dog, or obviously, you'll find somebody, a family who wants it, adopting it, which is great.
Well, I think here's the cool thing, because we literally, Billy, you will hear this later on, but we did a really great interview with Gina Nepp, and she talked to us about dog IDs. So we now know all of these resources to go that people may be looking for a lost dog. So I think, you'll be on Pet FBI today.
Oh yeah, I'll
be
do
on,
all of that. So like, I'll make sure to share everyone. Ultimately,
scan the microchip. Maybe
I would love. And I think, okay, so here's some of the things that I'm afraid of, and some of the things that I'm hopeful for. Like ultimately, I'm hoping that I can hop on something like Find Rover or Pet FBI or Nextdoor, like we have here, and there is a loving family that cannot wait to see her come home. Like that would be
optimal.
Best case scenario.
Of course. Yeah.
Right? I think the part that I get a little worried about is two different things. What if it's not a loving family? Like there's nothing more excruciating than having to send a dog home with a family that sucks, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, she got off her chain in the yard. We'll take her back. And I'm like, oh, right.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
right.
They let her off the chain. They didn't really,
Right. Like, so that's the tough part. And then, I mean, the other alternative is that, I connect with a shelter or a rescue and hope that they find her a home. But that can kind of be uncomfortable from time to time too, knowing what she
I guess, Jason, are you ready for another dog? I guess would be a question.
I don't know that we're a 3-dog family, but those 3 dogs in the backyard were playing like crazy. Like they were having the best time this morning.
Right?
Listen, I come from the personal belief that the dogs in your home should always outnumber the humans in your home.
Yeah.
So you're technically like a couple dogs short at this point,
right,
between like you, Christy, and the 2 kiddos. So I'm saying, like, at least even out your numbers. I mean, at least have more dogs than you have kids.
Like minimum of 6 dogs at least at this point.
At this
6.
point.
Well, that would
Thank you, Billy.
be illegal, at least here in the Washoe County.
Is it really?
I think we cap at 5.
Oh.
I mean, I don't even know what my cap is here in New York, but I don't care, I guess, because
to all of our listeners, all of our listeners, you should absolutely care what your county restrictions are on dog ownership. Please don't hoard animals. Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, Sylvia.
I just have to throw that little disclaimer in there to make sure no one goes crazy.
Dogish said that I shouldn't care. Just have 37 dogs. We're good.
I was listening to a Dogish podcast the other day, and they were like, F the county regulations.
Right.
So I decided I just was going to adopt a litter.
Dogs should outnumber people.
Yes, outnumber people.
I did clarify that with it is my personal belief.
Right,
so
right.
You did.
It's not the belief of the Dogish podcast or any of their associates or Phoenix Media.
There you go. You're
you're
on that.
Yeah, on point there.
Gotta get your disclaimers.
Yeah, right. You're right. Oh,
okay,
boy.
so we're at our first break, and I hate to interrupt it because I love this conversation, but we're gonna. Okay, welcome back. And so we're sitting here with Billy and Sylvia, and we just heard about my adventurous morning of having a dog just randomly waking up in my backyard. But more importantly, Billy's here with us today to kind of talk about what he does and how he connects with a rescue and shelters in New York City. And like I mentioned earlier, Billy, I met you when we were on the Rescued Heroes Road Tour.
Yeah.
And we had one of those uniquely special connections where like we sit down for an hour or two at your restaurant, and it's one of the places that I miss the most. Like Christy and I were both emotional leaving. Like we felt like we were leaving that friend that we hadn't seen in years. It was really, really cool.
Felt the same on this end too. Yeah, it was great meeting you guys that time. And again, when you guys left, it felt like, like a family member was going back home, and it's like, oh, all right, they can stay a couple more days.
Right.
It was great. It really was wonderful meeting everybody. It really was,
So tell me, tell us a little bit about like your restaurant and its unique position in the world.
Yeah, so I have 2 locations in Brooklyn. The restaurant's called Bareburger, and it's an all organic, all natural, sustainable burger joint, basically. We have different varieties of proteins, and it makes it. The biggest thing is that people are able to eat and know exactly what they're putting in their body, basically. It's a franchise, a small little franchise. My younger brother and his best friend started it off in 2009. And like I said, we took over the Brooklyn locations, and it's been great ever since. I mean, I have no complaints. Guests are really happy with everything. They come in and they're super excited about ordering food that they know where it's coming from, basically, and yeah, I mean, that's really the gist of it. Like I tell everybody, we're not a health store, but we're a great burger place,
What I thought was cool was there was the and correct me, I'm not vegan or vegetarian, so sometimes I get things mixed up, but there was a non-vegan side, and then there was a vegan side of the menu.
Yes,
right?
Like,
it's a simple menu, like tons of great different stuff on there, right? It's not like it was one of those simple menus where there's 3 things type. There was, right?
No,
but
there's
the one side that's all
there was a whole side
your
of
carnivore side, and then you flip it over, and it was the vegan side, and it was exciting. Like Billy coming out, and he's just bringing like tons of stuff. He's like, Jay, check this out. And he'd sit it down. He's like, bet you didn't know that was vegan, right? Like just nonstop. Like Christy and I and the boys had so much food just sitting on the table for us. And he's like, you want to try some beers? Bring this one out. And then what was his name? Like what the guy's name?
Matt.
Yeah. So Matt's like bringing out, and he's like, what do you think of that one? I was like, this one's good. He's like, you know what? You got to try this other one. And so then like 3 more beers come out. He's like, just kind of sample these and sip them around. You want to put these? We'll throw those in a bag. Take them with you. Like it was one of the best experiences ever. That's not even
okay.
Dessert.
So just chiming in, Billy, next time I'm in New York, I'll be stopping by.
Yeah. You have to.
That's amazing.
That's one of the biggest things we changed in the last, I'd say around 3 years now, actually. But 2 years ago, we started with we started catering to our vegan guests. There's a lot of them, and they wanted something more than just a regular bean burger. So we went and revamped our entire menu. And like Jason was saying, half the menu is vegan, the other half is all animal product, and it's going really well. We've actually tweaked that menu again ever since, especially since the pandemic started. We really needed to minimize on a bunch of stuff.
Sure.
And but all the options are still there. All the options are still there for vegans too.
Okay, so as somebody who was a practicing vegan for many, many years, and like now I eat for my health, I'll put it to you that way.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was very, very vegan, which was just up until a little under a year ago, do you have separate kitchens for both of these menus?
Not separate kitchens, separate.
Separate
not
cooking
entire
spaces.
separate grills. Yeah. So it's a separate area, completely all for the vegan, gluten-free, because we're big on vegan and gluten-free, especially gluten-free. We've changed our whole menu to be our fried chicken is gluten-free. Our anything.
Amazing.
Yeah, everything we fry is with gluten-free products. So this way, anybody could come in and order. Again, let's just say it's a fried chicken. They don't have to worry about if it's vegan or not, gluten-free or not. It's gluten-free automatically.
Amazing.
So yeah, we've really tried to accommodate everybody as easily as possible without saying again, okay, where's this, where's that? Everything is there, and again, our kitchens are definitely they're separated as far as having for no cross contamination, basically.
That's incredible.
Yeah. It's been years. We've had the restaurants on for 10 years, and we've been really just, honing in on exactly what needs to get done. Yeah.
Was that like a slow shift, or that was like no, we have to do this?
It was, I'm going to say it's a slow shift. It took like around, I'd say around a year and a half for us to actually say, all right, let's start doing, more gluten-free products and all that. But we didn't go with 1 or 2 products. We just said, all right, let's get rid of, 20 items on our regular menu and add 20 items that are gluten-free and vegan. So it was so all of a sudden there was just a bigger option for our guests. Because most places you go to, there, they'll say, all right, this is the one vegan product we have or two vegan products. We want it to be, no, here's 20 vegan products. So when you come in with your family, you and your child is, has a allergy to something or whatever it is, everybody can sit down and eat and don't worry about it. And that's, so that's one of the successes of Bareburger, that they've been able to hone in on that.
But
that's amazing.
What was cool is it wasn't, so speaking as like a non-vegan, like sometimes you go into certain places and you feel a little like flipped on the opposite side. Like there's all these like vegan things and there's really not anything good for the non-vegans, right?
Yeah.
Or
vice versa.
Or the vibe is kind of just different, right? Like, so there's
it is. You're right.
Right.
You're right.
And, and this, to be honest, like if you walked into Bareburger, it's more just a traditional going to your good old burger joint, like when you're done hanging out at the lake and you're driving home and there's that family burger joint, like you get to stop there and they got the milkshakes and it's like all like really, really good stuff.
Right.
While still having that high level vegan experience at the same time. Like it was phenomenal.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. There's a lot of vegan restaurants that you walk into and it's just from their decor and everything. You're just like, all right, I'm not going to find anything here if you're a meat eater. Right. And vice versa too. So we just wanted Bareburger to be, again, that spot, like you said, which everyone, families are going to come in and just hang out and eat and not worry about anything. And, their whole family can eat. I have guests who come in with a list full of allergies for their children. And we're like, okay, we got it. Don't worry about it. And like, really? I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. And they come back telling us, we haven't been out in years with our children to go eat because my child's gluten-free or this and that. And all of a sudden they're actually out as a family eating. So, it brings joy. It does. It really does. It feels good when you hear that, So, yeah.
Love it, dude.
And families together. I love that. Yeah. And like, honestly, as someone who has food sensitivities, thank you for being considerate, and I think it's so interesting too. And like, of course, like you're in New York and of course you guys are leading the charge, but, my husband and I, when the world was normal, do a lot of traveling abroad. And it's so interesting when you do go abroad, like how regular it is to just be like, oh yeah, can you please make this vegan? And the chefs are like, no problem. Here, oftentimes, as someone with food sensitivities, you're made to feel like an inconvenience.
Yes.
Or they don't really care. They'll say like, oh yeah, no worries, but there's still butter in it. And I'm like, I can't eat butter. It does not go well for me today. So I mean, that's incredible what you're doing. It's
appreciate
taking a stand. So
it is. And then, it is. And then what you said is true. When you go anywhere in the world, actually, as when you travel and you just, you do tell them this is what I want to have. Can you do it this way? You never hear them argue about it. They're like, yeah, no problem. We got it for you.
Yeah.
Because, they want you there.
I was in a tiny pub in Scotland, like in a tiny little village. And I literally like sat down and I was like, oh, is there a vegan menu? And they were like, no, but I could just go ask the chef really quick and see what he could prepare for you. And they came back with like 6. He's like, we can make you these kebabs. We can make you this. We can make you that. We can make you this. Here, I'm like, do you have anything vegan? They're like, quesadilla. I'm like, that's not
what I want.
It's not vegan. That's cheese.
Oh my, that's just cheese. Yeah, that's dairy. Yeah, I mean,
they're like French fries. I'm like,
right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? I mean, hopefully, as time goes on and things get better all around in general,
Well, and more restaurants like you normalize the fact that like there should be options. It should just be normal.
Yeah, and it doesn't take much. It just, I don't know if some restaurants feel they need to have a boatload of product. You don't. Just bring in some, try it out, and when you run out, you reorder again. It's very simple. It's not impossible to do. But I don't know. People, I don't know. I don't understand why they won't accommodate as much as they should. And it, sometimes it's old mind thinking, old ways of thinking also. So who knows?
Okay, so you're moving and shaking in the food industry. Yeah. You're like,
and then we're gonna move and shake into another quick break.
Yeah, exactly. So
you like that?
Yes, I did like that. And when we come back, I have a question.
Cool.
So quick break.
You're up, Sylvia. What hit us with the question.
Okay, here's my question, Billy, and this is gonna like full circle here. So, as I was saying, you're moving and shaking on the restaurant industry, making changes, normalizing things that should be normal.
Mhm.
Talk to us a little bit about now, because this is where I have no idea what you're doing over there. But what are you doing with the rescue community? Like, explain to me your connection. I mean, I can obviously see you're a very compassionate human and you're helping fellow humans. So talk to me about how you're helping dogs.
Oh, dogs, yeah, absolutely. So 7 years ago, we actually decided to get a puppy, right? And we did. We went to a store and bought it. I didn't know much about rescues, and I always say, yeah, I kind of rescued her from the store anyway. But whatever. We got her. Her name is Hera.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yeah, you never know. Her name is Hera. We call it Ida, which is Greek because we're Greek, and of course, we have to have the Greek gods, well, 12 of them somewhere around our head somewhere.
For
We love
sure.
mythology. Mythology is great with us, and we brought her home. I'll get into a little bit deeper too. So my wife wasn't a really big fan of dogs. Didn't really care for one, and 7 years later, she's obsessed. Obviously, there's no stopping her. I mean, I'm surprised I don't have 30 dogs in the house. Basically, let's put it that way. I was joking before, but yeah, she's very obsessed with dogs, beyond belief. So when we bought Hera home, yeah, it was really cool and great and everything. We had a good time. She was wonderful. Small little dachshund schnauzer, 20 pounds right now. She's cool. And we started saying, all right, we should try to do something with animals, something with dogs. We always came up with different ideas from, rescues and shelters and stuff, but nothing I could really get into because of the restaurant. It was kind of difficult to even think of starting something else.
Yeah.
2 years ago, two and a half years ago, we were driving in from Manhattan, my wife and my son, and my cousin gives me a call and tells me, come into Queens. There's an ice cream shop that opened up and I want you to come in. I was okay. So we're driving in there. It was like 10 minutes. We get there. And as we step outside, it was around 8:00. So it was dark. We see a woman, this young lady sitting on a bench outside the ice cream shop. And there's a small little head of a dog. And I'm looking at her and she has beautiful eyes. And we're like, my wife turns around, she goes, oh my God, she's beautiful. And the woman turns to us and says, yeah, she's actually a rescue. And I'm fostering her. We're like, oh. She's like, she's up for adoption if you want. So again, I'm looking at just a head because she was tucked in this woman's side. We couldn't see anything. All we saw was her big eyes. And my wife's like, I think I want her. And I'm like, all right. I really didn't think much about it because she was a bigger dog too. And we said, okay, that's fine. We asked her where she lives. She actually lives 3 blocks away from my house. So I'm like, oh, all right, easier to take a look at her. We find her, and a couple of days later, and we saw the dog. Her name was Angel at the time. And I thought to myself, rescue. Okay, she's beautiful. She looked gorgeous. She looked gorgeous. But I'm like, all right, she's a rescue. And unfortunately, in my head, rescues were dogs that are broken and this and that, of course, right? Because at 47 years old, that's all you heard. That's all I heard for 45 years, whatever. And it was, I was like, okay, so we saw her, and all of a sudden, we actually physically saw her whole body. I noticed that she has no tail. So in my head, I'm like, oh, wow, she has no tail. That's so weird. So my wife sees it. She's like, I want her. Let's put in our paperwork to adopt her. So the rescue center is Rescue Dogs Rock NYC. So we got in touch with them. We put in our paperwork. Make a long story short, we got the adoption. We got her. As we got her, we saw her 2-3 times prior to that. And again, the no tail thing in my head kept going, oh, she has no tail. That's so weird. And she had a huge scar on her side of her leg. And I'm like, wow, I know she's a rescue. And again, I just wasn't used to it. It was, it was just, I didn't understand it at that time. And we got her, and of course we're in love. And she's, I don't see that anymore, and when I met Jasen actually, and we were talking about what the whole point of a rescue is and what it's done to us, never mind just to the dog itself. I mean, it changed our whole outlook on rescues. And because of that, I decided to start working with Rescue Dogs Rock, NYC. And we've held a couple of adoption drives outside our stores in Brooklyn. We've collected and raised money through cocktails that we were selling at the restaurants and just trying to help them monetarily, because of course it's the biggest thing. They need all the help they can get as far as money is concerned, because they rescue any dog they can possibly get, and surgeries and all that, of course, cost money. So because of all that, we've actually even rethought more of what we want to do in the future as far as a rescue and whatever we can do. In the last 2 years, in between all that, we've actually gotten in touch with some, as a family, actually, we've gotten in touch with rescues in Greece, actually, also. And, just trying to, we have this one dog outside of our house who the owner doesn't care about him. And every time we get there, we take care of him for, the month, 2 months that my wife might be there with my son. And then throughout the whole year, we have a friend who actually goes and takes his dog to the vet and takes care of him, and it's just, so we're really just trying to figure out what we want to do. But as far as the rescue centers themselves, the ones here, we try to do whatever we can. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, we weren't able to do anything in almost a year now. We had things scheduled from actually April of 2020. And then once March kicked in and everything was shut down, we weren't able to do anything. So that was a blow to their adoption drives. But on the positive note, this whole year, and I'm sure it's all over, they were able to adopt almost every dog they got because people were home, which is wonderful. I mean, that's amazing that these centers are empty. They don't have enough. They don't have animals, which is wonderful. And people are adopting them.
Here. It's like that here in Los Angeles too. They're just
which is amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing how. It's amazing because people who don't have dogs never realize how great it is to have one. And hopefully now they do, and they go with one or more, So it's been really good, actually. Yeah.
So, out of this whole story, you didn't tell us her name once, and I'm.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. So I'm so sorry. Yeah. You see that? I get into it. I stop. So her name was Angel when they first found her, and we named her Hope. Yeah.
Fitting.
We named her Hope because, we named her Hope because we kept saying that there's hope for all of them. So we call her Elpida, which is in Greek. That's what hope means. But her name is Hope, and she's beautiful. She has my heart.
So I don't think that can be overstated enough.
Yeah.
Like Billy's like this big Italian guy with his restaurant. Greek. No, sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Jason, you're fired.
I know. I'm jumping all over the too far east for me. I get confused.
It's all good.
I know Greek. And the bond and the connection between the two of them, I remember seeing you guys come in to the studio when we were there in New York. Like let's get rid of any confusion here. Hope is not bonded with Billy's wife, right? Like Hope and Billy are I think I see more pictures of Hope and Billy on his Instagram page than anybody else. Like in fact, and Hope has her own Instagram page, right?
Yeah.
And so I always love these stories where people go from like, oh, I had this one idea about rescues and like what they were, and there was a scar or whatever, like anything, and that transition to like, whoa, like this is even not just a good dog, like oh, this rescue turned out to be a good dog.
Yeah,
we're talking like this dog impacted and changed Billy's life.
Absolutely, absolutely, she did. She changed everything. I mean, she changed my life, my wife's life, my son's life. I mean, she's just like they say, when they look at you in the eyes, it's like they're looking into your soul. And she does. She's other than just being super kind and just like her heart is wonderful. Like you could tell, like she's very she's so compassionate with everything and everybody. She's just a good girl. But when it comes to Hope and I, it's like, she's like, I get home and both dogs go bananas. Of course, it's like, I'm home and I could walk around the block once and it's as if like 20 hours passed, and they go crazy. But Hope will like come up to me, sit next to me wherever I go. She stands up. The minute I get up, she stands up. The minute I sit down, she sits down next to me. It's just a different, we've definitely connected in a wonderful way. There's no question about it.
She's your soul dog.
She is. She really is. Yeah, she really is.
I can relate. I mean, my soul dog unfortunately passed last year, but it was the same thing. Like I rescued her, and within the 10 years that I had her, this dog changed my life. You know, just 360. I went from just being like no dog things to the entire world is now revolves around dogs. And now here you and I both are sitting on a podcast dedicated to dog parents, their dogs, and the personalities and interests. So I just think that it's it's so incredible how that there's that one spirit, and I think Angel was such like an aptly named name for her, because it's just she really was your angel, and now she's an angel for so many dogs that you in turn have helped save and fund surgeries for, probably life-saving surgeries just through your efforts. And now you're looking at saving souls abroad. Like what a turnaround. And like I don't think you probably would have ever imagined your life going this direction. So I think this is a good spot to take a break.
Yep.
And we'll be right back.
So we've it's been quite the conversation. We started with crazy dog, or not, she's super sweet in my backyard, and then the awesome restaurant, and now we just got done talking about Hope and Hera. One of the things that I'm curious about, and Sylvia will be, and a lot of people, like as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, the impact in like I remember sitting down and you were telling me you had milkshakes, right? Didn't you do milkshakes? Like you had these special milkshakes for to sell people, and the proceeds went back to like the dogs.
We actually had it was a milkshake, and then we also had a cocktail actually that all 100% of the proceeds went to the rescue center. So we got oh sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So what are like some of the things that like impacts like business wise, right? So like I mean, get down like when it comes down to business, we have to be making positive decisions for our business, or the business goes away, right? Like we can't just be bleeding hearts all the time. We've made that mistake sometimes, and it's backfired. Like you try and be too nice, and then it doesn't work out, right? So it still has to be beneficial across the board. Like what have you seen, like working with the rescues and with your business? Like what are some different things and benefits that you've seen doing that?
Well, the benefits, I mean, they've actually been great. Actually, I can't say they haven't been. We ever since we started the whole process, because again, we first started off with a milkshake and a cocktail, so raising monies, all the proceeds were going to go directly to them. And then once we started the adoption drives, also almost simultaneously, we noticed that a lot of our guests were coming in, and they were just blown away that we were doing something like that. So all of a sudden they started telling their friends, oh, you have to go to the Bareburger in Brooklyn. They're actually, they have a cocktail or a milkshake that all the proceeds are going 100% to a rescue center in New York. And then they were coming in, guests were coming in, new guests. And, and it wasn't obviously just the ordering of the milkshake or the cocktail. They were sitting down having their meals and all that. And they were being introduced to Bareburger either for the first time, or if they were already our guests, they were just ordering. I mean, we had people coming in ordering, 8-9 cocktails at a clip.
That's amazing.
And I remember a lot of them, they were like, oh my God, I'm having another one. I'm like, okay, as long as you can walk out of the front door straight, we're good. So it impacted us as a restaurant. It was great for business, let's put it that way. And with the adoption drives outside, those were like, that was big, because both our locations are on a corner. So we had two sides we had around, one store had around 20 dogs, and the other one had two different times it was like 25 dogs and people. So it was just chaos on our corners. And then you had people, watching from across the street going, what's going on over there? And they would come over and be like, oh my God, an adoption drive. Cool. Do you mind if we go inside and eat first? Yeah, go for it. So again, Bareburger was introduced to people who've never been to it. And again, people who were like, oh my God, they're so, they like, look what they're doing, and that's a big thing. A lot of people, I guess, respect that. And, came after the fact and keep bringing up, oh, when are you guys doing another adoption drive? Or, this whole year, 2020, that's all we kept getting asked. But unfortunately, we couldn't do anything. So hopefully for 2021, we'll be able to do something as far as an adoption drive.
So here's something that I want to just like point out for our listeners. Like, you're in New York City. You're literally in Brooklyn. And if
We're
anyone's been there, like spaces in New York are not large, right? And what I'm hearing you say is like space doesn't matter. Like you can create an event like this, because I feel like there's probably a lot of businesses out there that want to do something like this, but just feel like they don't have the space to be involved, or they don't have room. And it sounds like you made small changes. You were doing sidewalk pop-ups, and you were offering small items on your menu, beverages, right? Which is something that like you usually need a meal to go with your beverage. I mean, you could have a liquid dinner. I don't know. That's your choice. You know, but might not walk out the front door with 9 of those. But but you know, I think it's so impactful what you're saying, and what I'm really getting from this is like you don't need to have like this huge patio backyard space to do something small and simple.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we have outdoor seating, especially in spring and summer. And all I did is take away my outdoor seating for 8 hours, which, okay, I'll deal with that, because I'm bringing in people now to see what's going on. It's not like you're gonna have an adoption drive every day either, you know. So you don't need big spaces. You really don't. You can do any business can help out any type of rescue center or any rescue, anything for that matter, just because you can sell an item off your menu or just create something just specifically for them. And, you know, there'll be people who come in and say, yeah, really, I don't want it. Okay, great. That's fine. But the majority of people will, because once they hear proceeds are going to that, and especially if we want to do 100% proceeds, that's even big. You know, people respect that and they're excited about it. And, you know, there are a lot of people out there who love animals, and, you know, they appreciate the fact that we're doing something. So any business can actually do it as long as they don't overthink it, maybe. I mean, I was very like, yeah, we're doing it. And the rescue center was like, what are we doing? I was like, we're doing an adoption drive outside the store. And like, when? I was like, I don't know. You give me a date. You just make that decision. It doesn't take, you know, it's not rocket science. It's simple. And just know that, yeah, the one day that you might not have a table or two, that hopefully will bring others the next day and double. And it's not even just for that, but as a business, yeah, you got to, like you said, Jason, you know, you can't just give everything away for free either, you know, but the whole point is to bring in people and let them know that you care about, there's another reason to it, you know, and Bareburger has always been about that. We've donated monies to different charities and different everything, but nobody ever did anything for animals, for dogs. And we finally did that, and people are totally hyped about it, you know?
Yeah, because I think just the nature of like restaurants and dogs, like, you know, dogs don't go to restaurants. So I think that probably most people in your industry, your business, aren't really thinking of connecting the two. So I think that what you're doing is groundbreaking. I mean, it's so simple. It's a cocktail.
Simple.
You know? So simple.
It's so simple. I mean, we raised around, it was a good 2.5 months of just with the cocktail. We raised $8,000 for them.
Incredible.
Because people were like, yes, bring. We had guests who didn't want a milkshake, and they were like, you know what, put the milkshake on, but I don't need it. Like, all right, you know, so they were just donating them. Yeah, it's a big thing. I mean, people, the minute they started hearing that we're actually doing something like that, they were just much more excited. They were much more happy to be in a Bareburger, because it wasn't just about, oh, I'm gonna have a burger, you know, let's give this company a profit or something. You know what I mean? There was something else to it.
Yeah,
it was good.
That. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I remember sitting there, and there was even like, oh, maybe someday we'll get the space next to us and we'll turn that into like a little shelter rescue type thing.
Yeah, it'd be good, but that place it's still rented out, so we can't do anything yet. You know, but in my head, that's my plan. My wife and I, our plan is to eventually do something with animals, just, you know, rescuing them. We'll figure it out eventually, but, you know, that's in the back of our head. Like, that's gonna be my retirement at some point.
I feel like, you know, everything that's happened for you so far has been very organic. So I would just say, like, keep riding this wave. And I think you're just gonna walk by, and its big eyes are gonna be gleaming at you, and you're gonna be like, this is how we do it, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
And so what are you guys doing? Like, you travel a lot back and forth to not Italy. It's a little
To Greece.
place called
Greece.
Greece inside Italy, right? I'm totally
Yeah,
joking.
right. You're gonna have
Should I
every
get?
Greek-
Right.
Do I need a globe? Am I
Yeah,
gonna have to
Jason,
get
you're
a
gonna
globe on this
you're
thing?
gonna have
Oh,
every
Well,
every Greek
Billy's
is gonna be
Billy's
emailing
invited us to come visit several times, and if I show up
Absolutely.
in Italy somewhere, now you'll know why.
Not- Like Jason, we said Greece.
Where
Like,
you at?
yeah,
I'm
I am.
here.
I don't know. I'm here. What are you talking about?
I'm trying to find Greece on the map. I don't know. I flew into Rome, and I just can't find Greece anywhere. What
I'm
city?
asking everybody. I'm asking everybody. Isn't this Greece? Yeah, no.
So yeah, so that's our show, buddy. Like you were
Sounds great.
worried about like filling the time and
I guess time goes
Hold
by.
on,
last.
hold on. Time out.
Hold
That's
up.
not
I
our
know where you're
show.
gonna go. Hold up. Yeah, you're right.
That's
you're right,
not
you're
our
right.
show.
Hold on. Oh, jeez. I got to get it brought up. So we
Yes.
we
This
do
is a very
yeah.
listen to me. This is a very important part of every episode, and Jason has biffed it twice. So
What?
I
I'm
know.
just
I know,
ensuring that
that's-
we get this done. It's very serious business.
The
Yeah,
joke.
Yeah. We got a dog dad joke that we got to
All right,
drop on
good.
here.
Because I laughed
Yeah.
at the other two.
Did you?
I did. I was laughing. I was like, "Oh my god!" And I was laughing, and then Sue was
I
like,
know
"Yeah,
he's
it's a
waiting
dog
for it. He's like, the joke. Yeah, where's the joke?
The joke.
Awesome.
I'm waiting for it.
All right. This one. I try and find ones. I'm going to eventually run out, but I try and find ones that are relevant to the show. And we've been talking. All right. You got no more build up. Ready? Why doesn't anybody want to work for a dog?
Why?
Because they hound their employees.
Oh my god! I like that one.
Hashtag dog dad joke.
Dog dad.
That's a,
Hey, so you guys want
that's
to?
a good
So Christy's been texting me updates.
Oh yes.
Yeah, about so we have security cameras.
And there's another dog. There's a fourth one.
So at 7:45 this morning, some dude.
Wow.
Check this out. Like this look.
Put it up to the camera. I want to see.
Toss it in.
So that's our backyard inside the gate. So somebody came inside our gate
Oh wow.
and
just
left this dog there.
Jeff the dog.
Just released
It's
their dog.
7:45 this morning.
Yeah, so they knew that you're dog lovers and were hoping for the best type of thing, I guess.
I guess so. I guess
That's
so.
a shame. It's a shame.
So, okay, so hold on. Now that we've got a little bit of information, this could totally be bonus #bonus features.
Yeah.
What? So what are we? I'm a millennial. Can you tell with all my hashtags? So what? Now that we have more information, what are we gonna do with her? Because obviously she was abandoned
Right.
And she was abandoned, yes.
to you. Someone chose you.
Well, what's crazy? I was like, even there's so much that you can get out of a picture, right? So I'm sitting here. He brought her in on a leash.
Right, yeah, I saw
a
that.
leash and a collar, and she's
She's not wearing a collar now.
Nope.
So he literally took her identification off
Yeah.
Yep.
and just
I
left her
wonder-
there.
I wonder if there's a microchip in her.
That's what I'm thinking too.
I mean, if there is, they'll find exactly who it is. But
We'll
but
get
you don't
it,
obviously know.
we'll get it checked, obviously. But I mean,
Make sure to scan the tail.
right,
Yeah.
we learned that. But yeah, I mean the other thing could, like, we're dealing with a lot of homeless right now and the cold and the thing. I mean, I think we get trapped into thinking like this is always like a bad guy doing bad things.
Right.
But
Totally.
if you flip this on its head, this could be somebody who's like, I couldn't afford to feed her anymore. I'm barely
Right.
like I
Yeah.
can't afford to feed myself,
Yeah.
and I don't want to just let her go. And
No, I mean, I don't think that this person's horrific at
Right.
all. I actually think that the fact that
thought
they were
about it.
like, they thought about it. Like they made a distinctive choice. Like
Right.
this was a decision.
right, and
Yeah,
we've
they
got-
know that you'll
we've
find
got
the right place.
We've got the giant RV in our yard that says that we do all sorts of stuff with dogs.
Right.
So
Yeah, you might want to cover that.
no. Okay, so here's and here. This
you're
is
gonna
I
end
don't
up with a bunch of them.
yeah, I don't want our yard to suddenly start filling up with dogs, but at the same time, I'd much rather somebody be like, I'm gonna hope for the best and make some good decisions, like the best
could've
decisions that
just-
are available to me, and drop this
Yeah.
dog off
I mean, and thank God, like, what if they just like let her out the front door and she ran across the street, got hit by a car? Like, they
Right.
made a concerted effort. They're like, there are dogs in here, which means clearly this is a secure yard.
Yep.
Right.
She's going to be safe.
Yeah. I think the only downside of somebody doing something like this is like, we really have no idea if she was going to get along with our dogs.
Yeah.
Right.
And she's a little bit smaller than Brownie, mostly because she hasn't eaten in a while. But I mean, that would have been the only like really bad thing to wake up to, was the two of them going at each other.
Fighting, yeah.
But other than that, I'd much rather people do something like this than just the horrific photos.
Listen, you don't want to be
chaining dogs up outside.
Yeah.
And then just leaving on a short little 3-foot leash in an area that's not populated.
Right.
Just letting them go. I've heard horrific stories even here in Reno where there's a spot where people just drive to, they let their dog out and they drive off.
They're just them.
Right.
Wow.
People used to do that. That's how I got my first dog that I was telling you about in the first episode, that tried to follow me on the bus, because that area is an area people would dump dogs.
Wow.
So they just literally dumped this little like beagle mix puppy in this big open fields, like 40-acre open plot. And they would just dump dogs there.
So I think that's one of the things for the stigmas. Like, I have a strong passion I want to change the stigma of things in the animal welfare community. One, like we just talked about, that rescues are not broken, that there's some of the most sweet and loving animals that you possibly could bring into your family. And two, I would much rather encourage somebody to give up their dog to a rescue or a shelter so that they can get to a good home than feel too ashamed and keeping them locked in a cage and peeing on themselves and not eating and being like
miserable.
Like there's
or even abandoning them on the street.
Right.
Just leaving them.
Right.
You know, that actually happened to us in one of the adoption drives. Sort of bring it up again, but the second adoption drive we had, it was my wife and my son and a bunch of volunteers who help out with Rescue Dog Rocks, and a woman literally came up to my wife with a dog and handed her the leash and dropped the leash on the floor actually and said, "I can't take care of this dog anymore." And it happened in front of my wife, who's like in love with every dog now, and she's like, "Wait, what?" And the woman turned around and walked away. So it happened while we're ready to start this adoption drive. We actually took her. And we fostered her for 8 weeks until we found a home. Until I found I didn't find the home, but until I found the right home for her. Basically, I was actually going into these people's houses, checking it all out and everything. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
So but things like that. So instead of just being dumped anywhere, it is, like you said, Jason, better to leave it somewhere where at least the dog's going to get cared for and hopefully find a new home. So that's probably what happened with this gentleman.
As someone who works as an animal professional, working with humans and dogs, and we talk a lot on the show about like the human animal bond. I tend to have a very soft spot for people who are in that position where they just feel like they can't do it, and there's a lot of reasons that lead up to that, and not all of them are like unfathomable, because for me, it's like, I would rather be homeless than live with my dog. Like, that might not be someone's situation. I follow a great rescue here in LA, and they just posted a really incredible, moving story about how one of their dear friends went through a really intensive cancer treatment and had to give up his dog because he was like, I can't be there for my dog because I'm so sick right now, and it's not fair for my dogs to sit at home. I might not make it. You know what I mean? So it's like, there are so many reasons why these dogs end up in shelter care and in rescue care. And, we learned a lot from Gina. It's like 60% of these dogs came in with families already. So it's like, they're not damaged. They were actually loved and got out because the fireworks and didn't have an ID and ended up in the system.
Right.
So yeah, I really think that like the more information we have, the easier it is to realize like there is no stigma, and there's no stigma against the dogs, and we should really try to reform our stigma against the humans too, who are at least being responsible enough to do something like putting a dog in a yard or taking them to a shelter or rescue.
Yeah, that gentleman, I say gentleman because I guess he did the right thing in his head too, and left him with you guys, knowing that the dog's going to be, at least the dog's going to end up somewhere where it should end up, you know, with a family that's going to love it. Not, you know, whether it's adopted or not, but it will be.
Your family.
Yeah.
It's
It's for you, Jason. I mean, yeah, listen, even with, I remember with Hope, you know, again, when I saw her and I was like, yeah, she's beautiful, this and that. And I found she's a rescue and I had that in my head. I actually found photos of her, you know, when they found her. And that's when my heart broke. And I was like, how would anybody even just think like, just to leave a dog under an underpass somewhere? And it's like, you know, so the fact that this guy's dropped off the dog in the backyard of your house, Jason, is, yeah, I mean, like you said, you never know where. And if he had a collar and a leash, obviously it was their dog and in a home, and just
that could have been like really, really hard. Like,
yeah,
really,
yeah, they could have been. He could have been crying outside your gate for an hour before he put her inside. You know, we don't
even come knocking on your door telling you, I want my dog back. Yeah,
and let alone like, and there's so many, and we're gonna end up doing a whole show about this in the shelter community and rescues, but there's so many misunderstandings, crossover information. Like I know, like this could have been something. Maybe she nipped at his kid. Because his kid is young and came over to the food bowl at the wrong time, like, which is, in my opinion, totally acceptable. And as our jobs as parents is to create that separation. But from my experience, I know that there are
that can be a deal breaker.
Well, there are some shelters that once that ends up on their information tag, she could be the sweetest dog in the world and had like this one thing. If he goes in and says, I have to turn my dog in because she nipped at my kid, there's a high likelihood that dog won't make it out of the shelter.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I've worked with dogs who, you know, my friend runs a small boutique rescue here, and I do all of their like assessments and help with training after homing. And we had a dog come in, and this dog was labeled as extreme aggressive. He was like red tagged. This dog was red tagged. And they met him and they're like, oh, we just don't understand. Like, he's so sweet. He's so nice. Bigsby boy, you can find him on Instagram. But he went, I took him to the other rescue owner's home to meet with her big giant pit bull Taz. And like, he did fine. He did great. Like, no issues. He's been around kids. I mean, I could see where like he may get a little iffy about something, like, you know, maybe like the food bowl, but they were eating next to each other. So you never know what an owner tells the rescue that's going to or the shelter that's going to indicate how they label a dog. And as a behaviorist, as a dog trainer, I have to tell people all the time, like, please be careful how you label your dog. I'm not a behaviorist, I'm a behavior specialist, but I have clients who call me all the time. And they're like, oh yeah, my dog's aggressive. I'm like, in what way? Have they bit anybody? Well, no. Why are you labeling your dog that way? If you take that dog to the shelter, you say, oh, they're aggressive, they're going to red tag that dog and they may never make it out. Never. Yeah. And they're a perfectly fine dog who was just having a conversation with another dog.
Right. Listen, there's no bad dogs, right? It's just at the end of the day, it's either what what the surroundings are. And a dog, I mean, they don't have a thumb and they can't make a fist and punch somebody if someone's bothering them. So what they're going to do is either nip, bite. I mean, it's a dog. That's their instinct. If they feel that there's danger, they're going to protect themselves no matter what. And again, but that's the thing. If somebody says, yeah, my dog, bit my kid, that dog unfortunately is going to be tagged, like you said, a red tag. And it's a shame because a dog is only doing what it knows how to do when it needs to do it.
And then certain shelters have different guidelines for that. Certain shelters will just like that dog's
put that
done.
dog.
There's other shelters
right
that
down.
will mix it up. So,
all
right, guys, this has been an absolute amazing morning.
Billy, thank you for all of your time this morning.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Can't wait to come and eat a Bareburger.
Absolutely, whenever you want, and you let me know.
Can you ship one to LA? Is that?
I wish I could. So I wish we could. We
Postmates?
had a pop-up store in California actually for like 6 months.
Oh,
not in LA though. So we tried it out. It looked really good. So hopefully we'll be in California soon. Don't worry about it.
We have a huge vegan community over here in Silver Lake. Come, bring your burgers. Bring your burgers and your milkshakes. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, absolutely. But thank you guys, and it's great that you guys are doing this podcast. I mean, it's wonderful to have people listen to who understand what it means to be a dog parent, and the fact that you guys are going to tackle a lot of good stuff and bad stuff about it is wonderful. I mean, everybody needs to know everything about it, not just the pretty little things
fluffy.
about it. Yeah, it can't be like that. Only they have to know everything.
I just love that our listeners are already tuning into the dog dad jokes. Like I'm just saying.
Oh, it's the best. I'm telling you, I had the first one I listened to, I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, oh my God, he's going to keep doing this. This is great. Oh boy.
All right. Thanks,
All right,
Billy, so much.
Enjoy your day, buddy.
Have a great day.
I'll talk to you later.
You too. Bye. Bye.
All right. Just want to take a quick second to thank my co-host, our guest today, Billy, and of course, all of our listeners for tuning in. Any products or websites that we talked about today will be linked in the show notes at thedogishpodcast.com. Be sure you're checking us all out on social, and you also better check out Hope's social. Oh, I have a puppy coming in. And if you're not already subscribed, you should be subscribed. Juniper says, listen to the Dogish podcast. Yes. You can find us on all major platforms where you get any of your podcasts. And if there is a topic or personality that you want to hear on our show, let us know. We want to have them on for you. We've got amazing guests lined up. We cannot wait. And we'll see you next Tuesday.
See you then. Bye.